everyone, this is Michelle, and I played with some of the Decoupage Queen vellum papers. This is Dainty and the Queen Fura Elise. This is Indigo Botanicals 4-pack, and all of these vellum papers also come in the rice paper. I chose to kind of differentiate the patterns when I paired them together, and I used this one called Blue Flight with the Indigo 4-pack, and this one, Neutral Harlequin, with the Fura Elise. And then I also used the Decoupage Queen Multiple Harlequin stencil. I used some Pen Art varnish and glue, and this is what I did. So there was some trial and error involved. I had an idea of pairing together the vellum and the rice paper in a way where I made an envelope and then ripped it and then pieced them together to where it was half and half. And in the video you'll see I did that, and I just didn't like the result. Now I ended up tearing that apart to make this, which I used a piece of embossed paper, and then I embossed the vellum, and I made a kind of a snippet roll with a strip of cardstock that was just a scrap, and I took all of the scraps of the paper and the vellum and I glued them onto that strip, and that ended up being a great flap for this little envelope here. And I used the vellum as a pocket here on this tag. And I happened to have a stamp that matched this paper perfectly. And then I just made a envelope out of all vellum with a little journaling card in there. So I think that all of these elements together, these three elements together, make a pretty cute addition to any junk journal. One that's in blues, one that is, you know, maybe garden, plants, whatever. I think this will look really good in something like that. And then this, the part that's left over of this snippet roll here, this would be a great little thing just to clip to the side, a bookmark, anything like that. And then on this one, I made a pocket in the front, and I love how you can see the stamp through the vellum. That's one of the great characteristics of vellum, I think. I thought that this admission stamp went well with the kind of concert music. And then here's where I used the stencil and the paper and the stencil again for this one. And this last one is the actual idea of the torn vellum and it being sewn, you know, together. So what I ended up doing, I kept forgetting, and I would get in the zone and I would just start gluing the envelope together. So I was like, okay, I have to sew on it before I do that. So with this one, while it was open, I sewed just around the vellum piece here. Pretty sporadic, you know. I just like the look and the texture of the sewing on there. I don't think it has to be perfect anyway, which is good because I'm not great at it. So I think that kind of gives the look that I was going for, and I just adhered it to the cardstock prior to sewing it, and then made another little journaling card. I added some gold to this one. And again, I think that's a great little element to any journal that, you know, that you are making. I like to have stuff like this just set aside so that when I need it, I have it. So we did pockets with the vellum, envelopes with the vellum, and then used it for texture and interest in this ephemera that we made. So 3 ways to use the vellum. All right, here we go. You may have guessed at this point, this is where I am doing that experiment where I'm tearing the envelopes and then piecing them back together. Now on the replay, I actually didn't think it looked too bad, but I was frustrated with it because it didn't meet my exact vision at the time. And you'll notice throughout this video that I am using double-sided tape on the vellum, and I have used wet glue before on vellum. It does sometimes pucker and wrinkle the vellum, and sometimes you can even see it after it's dried. And you do not get that with the double-sided tape. There are some glues I think that work better than others, and you'll have to use trial and error to find out which one works best for you. Now I'm going to do that snippet roll, and if you work with paper a lot, then you probably have these little cut-offs, these kind of scrap things from trimming your paper, and you can layer them up with some of your other scraps and do these snippet rolls. You can separate your papers out by color, by theme, and then they make great little pieces of ephemera for your journals. In this case, it ends up being the flap on that envelope, so it worked out great. At this point, I am really just playing. I got this for Christmas and I wanted to know, hey, how does this work on vellum? So in all honesty, it did seem to weaken the integrity of the vellum. The embossing folder that I used had a pretty deep impression. I think there are some that aren't quite that deep that may have worked better on it. It's fine. It's just, I could tell that it had, you know, it might crack or something from going through the embosser. So that's something you might watch for and be careful about. And at this point, that other piece of paper is just another one that I was just trying out the embosser on, and I still don't have any idea that it's going to end up being an envelope. And that is just what happens when you play with your products. You don't always have to start out with a plan. I don't even realize that it's going to be an envelope until I pick up the snippet roll and use it as part of the over the flap. I'm still thinking it's going to be a flip out or something in a journal. And so it's not until right here that I realize, hey, this could be an envelope. Right around here that I realized that I wanted to sew on the envelope and I've already glued it shut. So I just go ahead and use the paper I had picked out and decorate this anyway. And like right there, I was going to just put the vellum over top, and then I realized, oh, I can make a pocket. So I had to remove the double-sided tape, and you can see that error, but I just added some ink and made it look a little bit more grungy, and it worked out. Right here, I just use just one little strip of double-sided tape on the vellum for this envelope because I do remember that I'm going to sew on this one. So I just use it to hold it in place. I don't do it all around the edges and everything to be secure, just kind of in the middle so that when I sew on it, it stays put. And I thought I was recording the entire time I was sewing on it, but I wasn't, so you don't get to see me fumble around at the sewing machine. I went ahead and found a journal that I thought this might be good in, and this is the Vintage Bird Journal, and it has a lot of the same colors, and I thought it went in it really well, so I stuck it in there for you to see what it might look like in a journal. For these little guys, I have this nature type of journal that the colors went really well with, so I thought I'd show you what they would look like in here. And as always, we're thrilled that you're here with us. Please subscribe to the Royal Quartz Arts and Crafts channel. And if you are interested in any of these products, there's a link in the description for all of the retailers. Thanks so much.